Well, it's early summer. The bluegills have started biting pretty good. We got water temps in the high 60s, low 70s, and they all went up shallow and started getting going with their spawning. So we're gonna go out today and we're gonna find some of those bluegills, throw a few of them in the boat. We're gonna fight a little bit of a northwest wind and a cold front, but I got a gut feeling we'll still be able to get them. So stay right where you're at. Fish head's coming up. Oh yeah, this one feels like a pretty good one to start. That's exactly what we're chasing. Oh yeah. Isn't it cool how bluegills, they'll just sit and swim in circles. It's fun to watch. I mean, they fight pound for pound as good as about any fish out there. That's a great gill to start our day right there. I'm gonna throw this guy in the live well. Then let me show you exactly what I'm using to catch these fish. Here it is. This is about as simple as it can get. Number one, I'm using an 1/8 ounce wobble bobber. This still wobble bobber, every time it hits the water, it'll just move around back and forth like this in the slightest of waves. And what that does for me is makes it so we're putting constant action down there on this little nipper. Now, I'm using a green and chartreuse one today. There's a lot of different colors and you know, all kinds of different colors will trip the trigger of a bluegill or a crappie. But for some reason in this dark stained water, they really want that bright green today. So that one's really going. Now, the other thing I'm doing is I'm just putting a little nip of night crawler on there. You don't want to put too much on there because the minute you start putting too much on there, you give them something to grab from underneath that doesn't have a hook in it. So what I always try to do is go with a pretty small chunk of meat, just enough to draw them in, and that hair's kind of poofing around down there. It does everything I need, but they end up on top of the hook. That setup right there, it's probably caught more bluegills than anything out there right now. Hey, one more thing about this wobble bobber too. I want to be really precise with my cast today. These fish are really tight to this structure, and here's one of the things that really helps. When I'm using that wobble bobber, because this thing casts so precise because of its weight and its balance, I'm able to get right to that edge without constantly ending up in the trees. Look at that. That's just too much fun. There he goes. Got him. That just goes to show you too, keep moving, because when you start finding these locations like we're on today, you can just keep moving along and find more and more and more of the same thing. That's another dynamite gill right there. What I'm fishing here today is actually a shoreline that comes up out of some deeper water. There's deep water right back here, and I'm a big believer in finding areas where there's deep water. But then the other thing this has is right now this is flooded, so it's giving great cover for the fish. But even if it wasn't flooded, they'd still be up in here because you can tell that there's cover that comes down in. If you look here, I've got weeds all around me. That's the key. If you can find cover and a soft bottom area where they can make their beds, they'll be up there shallow. And then you combine it with that deep water so that they have a place to go as soon as there's a cold front or as soon as they're done with their spawn. And you've got a gold mine. And you know, spots like this are available on so many lakes. We're on a North Metro area lake today, and you can find this all day long. And here's what's really neat. If you take the time to really look up shallow at this time of the year, when you hit those mid 60s into the low 70s, you're gonna find the fish up here. And one of the neat things is, if you look around today, we're all alone. And part of the reason we're all alone is not many people think the fish are up here this shallow. But when I say shallow, I mean I'm fishing just about a foot and a half down below my bobber with that little nipper, and I'm flipping right to the edge of this cover. And as long as you do that, you're gonna find gills. And then just keep moving along these shorelines because you're gonna find little areas that hold more fish than others. We started back here, had a couple spots that didn't hold them. So just keep slowly moving and pitching, and you'll contact fish. And then when you do, drop the anchor and spend some time there, because where there's one, there's gonna be more. boy, I made that cast and I really wasn't sure. I didn't feel like I was tight enough to the structure, but I guess I was, because we got them. Hey, one of the things you want to do too is when you're in those weeds like that, try to get the fish to the surface as quick as you can, like I did there, because if they get burrowed down in there, it'll get pretty tough to drag them out of there. And I'm using pretty light line today, so you don't want to break it off. So get them up to the surface and ski them right in as quick as you can. Man, this is just one of the greatest opportunities of the year. Early 70s in water temps, and these fish are up there and they're going crazy. Get out and try some of this, but keep one thing in mind when you're looking for these areas. There's a lot of wind out here today. Look for those areas where it's calm. If you can find those areas with the deep water, the cover, the shoreline that's going to give them everything they need in the soft bottom, and calm water, put it all together and you'll catch fish like that one all day. Hey, check back with us each and every week on Fish Ed, and we'll take you to a bite just like this one somewhere around the Midwest. You can go do it on your own. I'm Jon Thelen. We'll catch you next time.